I'm with Lidya Morgan from the Jerusalem Institute for Justice. Now, Lydia, what is the Jerusalem Institute of Justice?
The Jerusalem Institute of Justice is a human rights organization. We are a nonprofit, and we concentrate on human rights, civil rights, and religious freedom.
Now, does Israel have a problem with civil rights, as it is the only democracy in the region, in this area?
It is the only democracy in the Middle East. We are surrounded by Muslim nations, Arab nations, and where human rights, civil rights are not honored, not considered in the least. It does have its problems, though. Israel is 60 years old, and we've made a lot of progress in that time, considering everything, but we have more to do, and that is why the Jerusalem Institute of Justice is here, to work legally, to work practically, and socially to bring about human rights and civil rights for everyone.
Now, does Israel tolerate other religions? After all, it has been created as a Jewish state.
It is the homeland for the Jewish people, and it should be. We firmly believe that. That being said, there should be religious freedom for other religions. At present, other religions are tolerated, particularly in Jerusalem, which is the center of three different religions, at least three different religions. It's a very important place.
So which group of people suffer from the most human rights violations here in the land?
I don't know if there are some that suffer more than others. I do know that believers in this country are discriminated against, whether that be Christians or Messianic Jews, those that believe that Jesus is their Messiah, that Yeshua is the Messiah. They are considered having converted to a different religion, but many of them they're Jewish. They follow all the traditions, all the laws. So that is a population that really suffers discrimination.
So in what ways are Messianic Jews discriminated against, and is it the whole of society, or is it just like an Orthodox population that are persecuting Messianic Jews?
Most secular Jews really do not have a problem, really do not care even about another person or individual's religious beliefs. It is the Orthodox and the Haredi who discriminate frequently. And there are specific organizations such as Yad Lechem who made up of ultra-Orthodox radicals, and they really discriminate, and they will find out where Messianic believers live. They will contact the landlords, have them evicted. They will find out where they work. They will go harass them, try to have them fired. Those are just some of the commonplace, everyday things that happen to Messianic believers here. And again, these are people who are Jewish. They just happen to believe that Jesus is the Messiah, that the Messiah is coming again, but that he's already been here once.
So has there been any major instances of persecution in the land against Messianic believers?
One that I can talk about is the Ami Ortiz case, and that has been in the news a lot. Ami was 15 years old at the time, and his family received a package over Purim. It's customary and tradition to give baskets of goodies to friends and family members and neighbors, and someone set it on their doorstep. He took it in the home and proceeded to open it, and it exploded. It's a huge tragedy. Ami has survived and is recovering, but that happened because Ami's father is a pastor, and Yad Lechem, one of these organizations that do discriminate and target Messianic Jews, they targeted his father and his family, and unfortunately it was Ami that paid the price. And after many, many, many surgeries, again, he is recovering, but he still has pieces of shrapnel and screws in his lungs, and they will be there probably forever. And Ami hopes to play basketball someday. He's a good basketball player. But this is an instance. There are other instances where families have their cars bombed, torched, tires slashed, spray painted. These are, again, unfortunately, maybe not everyday occurrences, but probably monthly occurrences. And it's serious, and it wears people down, and that's the whole goal. But so Jerusalem Institute of Justice is working hard to provide not only encouragement but legal assistance and recourse.
Now, for instance, in the bombing case, the Old Testament clearly says, "Thou shalt not murder." How can they justify doing acts like this when the Bible is clearly against it, yet they have such a zeal? And how can you change their minds when they have such a zeal for God in this sense?
It's a very good question. No one has asked me that before. I don't know, other than praying and just asking that God changes their hearts. I don't know. I don't know how they can believe that it's okay to injure, maim, and kill in order to... I don't know how they can justify that.
Now, you not only fight for human rights, but you'd also help practically. And 20% of Israel's population live below the poverty line. So what do you do to help to combat that?
There are many different things that we do. We have several large distributions throughout the year. Usually Kimcha de Pischa, which is Passover. We have a distribution. We had one this year for Shavuot. During those distributions, we give food, and we try to make sure that underprivileged families and poor families have the food that traditionally is served during those holidays. And food is very, very important in Israel, and the family centers around and comes together to enjoy and just be together. So food is a very important component. And so we try to provide enough for each family to be able to enjoy together. We also have, going back to school, we have a backpack distribution. This year we concentrated mostly on the Ethiopian community of new immigrants. A lot of them come here, and we're so thankful when new immigrants come. It's just amazing, and it's, again, part of the Old Testament being fulfilled. So that's exciting. But many of them come without skills and, of course, not learning Hebrew, not knowing Hebrew. And so it's hard to find jobs. So we do what we can. And, again, this year we gave backpacks usually at the beginning of the fall. And then in the winter we have a distribution for elderly people. Even though Israel is most of the time extremely hot, and the dwellings are built with stone to keep it cool, that also means it's very, very cold in the winter. And some of the winter months when it's rainy and damp and cold, and elderly people suffer a lot. We usually have several deaths because of the cold. So we provide either blankets or fleece coats or just something to help keep them warm and keep them comfortable.
And you have other projects that you're running at the moment. What sort of projects are they?
One of the projects that means the most to me is Project Noah. And through Project Noah, we try to bring justice to victims of human trafficking. And it is a problem in Israel. There have been a lot of crackdowns on external trafficking or bringing women from other countries. A lot of women have been brought in the past from Eastern European countries, and as well as Estonia and Moldova and the Ukraine. The women are deceived and brought here thinking that they're going to be given good employment. Same story as around the world. So the crackdowns have taken place in the government and with the police. So now the problem more is internal trafficking, and Israeli and Palestinian women are being trafficked. And so we are providing assistance. We are trying to change some of the laws here. So we're going about this legally, but we also provide assistance. We work with other organizations. In each of our projects, we are very proud, whether it's the food distributions or Project Noah, or some of these the projects that we have. We are very proud to work with other organizations, and we feel that we're much stronger when we cooperate and work together. And we try to work with organizations that have been in the particular field for a while so that we can learn from them and we can bring strength to them, and we work together. We also help on a practical level, and we work with Isha La Isha, which is an organization in Haifa, and they help victims of human trafficking that have managed to escape the cycle. And some of them also come out of prostitution on their own, not just being trafficked, but just everyday prostitution. And we help provide assistance. Some of them want to go back to countries that they came from but have no legal documents. The pimps or people that brought them here it's commonplace to have your documents taken, to then be forced to become a habitual drug user. And so we help with the welfare of the women and their children. Most of them end up with children. And we try to help provide documents and legal assistance for those that would like to return to their native countries. People here in Israel, particularly the minority groups, whether it be a religious minority group or a racially minority group, they do not know their rights. They are very intimidated. A lot of them don't know the language. Hebrew is very difficult to learn. So we have refugees, asylum seekers, migrant workers, and religious minorities who come here and are taken advantage of either by the police, other government agencies, and unfortunately, some Israeli citizens, and they don't know their rights. They don't know their workers' rights. They don't know their civil rights. They don't know the laws regarding how long they're allowed to be here, things like that. So we hold seminars several times a year to let people know what their rights are and what they can expect if they abuse those rights. That's also very important to know what will happen if you cross the line and if you outstay your welcome.
Now, Gilad Shalit is a captured Israeli soldier, and he's been kidnapped by Hamas. I see that you have a badge on today saying "Free Gilad Shalit." So what are you actually doing to bring about the release of this soldier, Gilad Shalit?
Wow, today is a very big day for Jerusalem Institute of Justice and Israel Now, which is an organization also. And at the moment, as we're recording this, part of our team is in Geneva, and they have staged a demonstration. It will be held this evening from 5 to 7, I believe, 5 to 8 maybe. And we will be demonstrating, trying to bring pressure to the Red Cross from outside Israel. We need as much international pressure as possible put upon the Red Cross, put upon the UN, and put on Hamas to release Gilad Shalit. He's been captive over 4 years, and the Red Cross has yet to visit them. I know they have tried, but they do not condemn Hamas for preventing them. At the moment, there are 3 Hamas terrorists wanted by the Israeli government who are being hosted by the Jerusalem Red Cross office in East Jerusalem, and they are being given shelter and asylum there, essentially, allowed to carry out their daily activities, have their families visit, and that's not okay. That's not democracy. That's not justice. That's not human rights for everyone.
So you see this as double standards, basically, from the Red Cross as much as anything?
Absolutely. It is a double standard. They need to put their foot down and not only condemn Hamas, but they need to visit Gilad Shalit. They need to make it so that his family can visit him.
It must be really, really awful for someone like Gilad Shalit who's been captured. It's over 4 years now that he's been in captivity. It must be really awful for him and awful for his family as well to actually go through something like this.
Yes, Gilad's brother is joining the demonstration in Geneva, and we're very thankful for that. We're trying to present a united front and stand together. We will not be intimidated by terrorism, and Gilad needs to come home.
Yeah, it's been too long. Now, you just recently went out visiting Holocaust survivors. What were you doing there?
It's an amazing project, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. And Paul, I was glad to have you come with us. That was very, very nice. We recently became aware of several Holocaust survivors with terminal cancer. And one of our donors in the States, and we're very thankful that we have great donors, great partners, she wanted specifically to bless them because here a lot of the Holocaust survivors live on $250 or so a month, and that's nothing. Particularly, cancer medications are extremely expensive. So, in reality, for a lot of these Holocaust survivors, it was, do I buy food or do I buy my medication? So this donor, she was very, very generous, and she wanted to help provide money for their medication. So that's what we were doing, and we hope to establish relationship with these Holocaust survivors as we visit them monthly, and not just provide them money, but encouragement and help, and if they need practical assistance, that's our hope, that's our goal, and let them know that they're not alone, and we appreciate them. We appreciate the elders in our lives and what they've experienced and what we can learn from them.
I noticed when I was there that many of the Holocaust survivors, they told their stories, yet they become very tearful. It's 60 years ago since some of these stories happened, yet they're still relevant and real, and they're still living the horrors of the Holocaust even today. And it's a tragedy, isn't it?
It is a tragedy, and it is so fresh and so real. And many of them were children in the ghettos. They survived the ghettos or the camps, but it's still fresh, and it's still when they begin to talk about it, they cry, and it's something that they will never forget, and it's something that going and listening to their stories and their histories, I will never forget.
So finally, what's your prayer for this nation, for Israel?
I pray for peace. I pray for it will become all that God has for it to be, and that more and more Jews will come home.
And you have a website for those who would like to know more?
We do. www.jij.org.il, and it is the Jerusalem Institute of Justice, and we'd be happy for you to check our website and see what we're doing here in Israel. Thank you.
Okay, Lydia, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.